What are the types of users in an Oracle database in detail? Well, we have database administrators. They administrate the database. Some database administrators are system level users, and some database administrators get slightly less authority. But the database administrators can actually be divided up further. We have applications DBAs. These are people who deal with specific types of applications, namely off-the-shelf applications like PeopleSoft or SAP, things like that. And they know a lot about those applications and how they work with the Oracle database. Some of these applications are huge and have been around for 10, 20, 30 years, and the numbers of tables in them can go into the thousands. The schemas can be multiple, and they can be extremely complex. There are typically specialists who work with specific applications built on top of Oracle, such as with PeopleSoft and SAP, and a multitude of different types of packages, many of them built initially by Oracle or bought in by Oracle as mergers. There's a lot of software, CC&B billing, customer relationship management, financials, accounting, anything and everything you can think of can probably be bought off the shelf. It will have built-in functionality, but most larger organizations tend to alter things. So you have specific applications DBAs who are experts in those specific types of custom off-the-shelf applications. The database administrators again administer Oracle, which is the underlying database. These two fields tend to cross over a bit, but not too much. The applications DBAs tend to work with stuff that sits on top of Oracle. Many database administrators who've worked with custom environments, such as systems that build their own software in Java or Microsoft source type tools such as .NET and ASP, will know something about the front-end languages and the way they behave with the databases, but they don't necessarily know very much about things like PeopleSoft. On the contrary, the PeopleSoft people and the SAP people generally don't know much about the underlying structure of an Oracle database. These are two specialized fields. Security administrators. In an Oracle environment, typically a regular DBA works with the security administration layer, but underlying that is a whole slew of administration stuff to do with or tied in with the operating system in both Linux and Unix and Windows. And sometimes these people often have extensive access as database administrators to an Oracle database. Network administrators, similar type function in relation to Oracle database administrators as security people, but they have network knowledge and network skills. They know all about the networks, but they will also work with the database type role as well, as opposed to the application DBA role. Systems administrators are actually people who work with the operating system. Quite often, many production DBAs or production database administrators with Oracle are sourced from the systems administration field. They're experts with Unix and Linux and Windows, and generally their mindset is a lot more cautious and skeptical and careful, and they can make really good production DBAs because they're cautious and careful. If you do something in Unix or Linux that's wrong, it can break the entire system. The same applies to an Oracle database in a production environment where you have a service level agreement that requires your system to be up 99.999% of the time. If it goes down, it costs the company money, either in lost users, lost revenue, or in basically contractual agreements and liability issues and so on and so forth. So it's quite possible that the sysadmins often make the best production DBAs, although there is a field of Oracle type people who are more architects, and they're really a combination of database administration and application development. They build the tables, but they also quite often know how to build the databases. They often know how to write scripting, quite efficient and effective scripting in Linux or Unix or Windows that systems administrators don't necessarily know how to do because they're not necessarily programmers. So these fields are all interconnected, but they're all quite obvious specializations. But these fields are all fields that involve working with the database as an administrator of one form or another, or a developer. A testing person is also a kind of a user, but they don't have much access. They have access to specific things. They can do designs of benchmark testing, and they've just basically run things through a database environment, and typically from the application side. In other words, through the software that the developers have built. They don't necessarily get direct access into the database like the database administrators would. So going back down here again, we get to power users. These are people who do things like work with business objects or power tools at the front of the database that will be able to build objects in a database that tend to be more likely people who have a lot of knowledge, but they don't necessarily know the underlying structure of tables. So they're kind of in a more business-focused direction than the developers, the testers, and the administrators. And then you get your end users, who are the people who don't know anything about the database, but they want to use the data, and they get access to specific pieces, sometimes directly into the database, but more often than not through applications